Alright, I got two Kagurabachi chapters to talk about, so let's get straight to it. So, chapter 47 starts off with the introduction of one of the contracted owners of the Enchanted Blades, Yoji Uruha. He wielded the Kumiyuri. Uruha starts talking about how Rokuhira entrusted him with one of the blades 18 years ago. It seems like it was an extremely special moment in his life. Uruha really looked up to Rokuhira, so it really hurt him to learn about his death. And it doesn't help that he now knows that the Hishaku have all of the Enchanted Blades, and they want to kill all of its contracted warriors. But his bodyguard assures him that he'll protect him. He also brings up how Rokuhira has a son, which, of course, he's referring to Chihiro, and brings up that they don't know whether he's actually his son or not. And I find it interesting that the DNA test that they were doing before brought up some interesting discussions within the fandom on whether Chihiro is actually Rokuhira's biological son. I personally think that he is, but the fact that we didn't get an answer due to the Hishaku making the move does make it seem more ambiguous than it was leading on. I don't blame people for thinking Chihiro could have been adopted during the war, and maybe Rokuhira decided to raise him in a way to partially atone for what he's done. Like, it would make sense, but I think it might be a situation where we're led to overthink it. Chihiro does look like his father, and I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that he's his biological son, and I feel like we're still going to learn more about his mother in a future arc. So, I mean, that's just how I feel, though. If you think differently or, the same, feel free to comment below. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it because everyone seems to have, a different idea on whether he could be a son or not. Moving ahead with the chapter itself, Uruha seems to think that Chihiro is an imposter. He doesn't think Rokuhira is the fathering type. Then, as they're chatting, the Hishaku actually already made their move on the hideout. So his bodyguards tell him to head to the station, and they'll follow suit after. So, things are starting to get really heated up, just when things are starting to feel calm in the hideout. So, as Uruha gets to the station, he meets Hakuri. So, Hakuri does his best to protect him, but he's still exhausted from what happened in the auction. Thankfully, Uruha was able to defend himself, and of course, Hakuri, who was kind of not feeling well right there in the bottom, so with the blade that was given to him. But just as he takes him down, more start to show up. That's when we see Chihiro make another badass entrance. Once Chihiro says that he's there to protect him, Uruha just bursts out saying, I can fight for your sake again, Mr. Rokuhira! And this man is hyped. What the hell? Meanwhile, Chihiro just left dumbfounded with Hakuri, and he's kind of screwy. So much for believing Rokuhira couldn't have a son. This man, one moment he's like, nope, he's an imposter. A nobody. He doesn't have a son. And then the next moment, that's him. That's Rokuhira right there. It's like, oh, okay, damn, what a change of events. But now moving on to the current chapter, Chihiro mentions that he moved away the passengers to a different car, and once it reaches the next station, they'll get off. That way, it'll just be them and the conductor. And Uruha responds by saying, understood, Mr. Rokuhira. And man, this guy really loves Rokuhira. And first it was Sojo, and now this guy? Rokuhira has one hell of a fan club. I feel like this might be a recurring theme throughout the rest of Kagurabachi. We're just going to continue to meet men who just looked up to Rokuhira and they were everything to him. And you know what? I vibe with it. Rokuhira was pretty awesome for the one chapter we saw him alive, so if more people are gonna, hype him up, I'm down for it. But anyways, Uruha actually goes up to Chihiro and he asks him if he can borrow his blade. Well, not borrow it, but get a hold of it. And Chihiro is just surprised that he isn't asking him more about his identity. But Uruha is like, you're not Rokuhira's son. Mr. Rokuhira, you are Mr. Rokuhira himself. And yeah, I don't think this man needs convincing. He then follows up by saying that it's been 18 years, and it's like meeting him again after so long. And seeing Enten is proof enough for him. And he continues by saying that the Kominabi turned against the Enchanted Blades and Rokuhira. That's why he went into hiding. Chihiro then says that, yeah, he lived a good life, with Uruha being happy to hear it. And what a sweet moment between them both. And I gotta say, I gotta give Hokuzono credit. He was pretty good at this tonal shift. We went from, some really funny panels to, a serious one. But not in a way where either could ruin the other. It was well-timed and well-executed. So, yeah, he definitely deserves some praise for that. But yeah, now Chihiro brings up that it's been 3 years since his father's murder with the Hishaku, making different types of moves like manipulating Sojo and the Sasanami family, and now, plotting to kill all the contracted owners. They're even using the weapons that Sojo created to do it with, which is crazy because that means that they have enough to go around and just go after every single contracted owner. So, there's multiple hideouts, so that means they have enough weapons to just be sending people like that with very, very powerful tools, which will make it really difficult to stop them. Hakuri even mentions that they're outgunned, but Uruha counters this by saying that their first attack was a failure. He's still alive, and he trusts his bodyguards, which was well-founded since, right after, we see that they did one hell of a good job taking them out. Now they're going to try to head to Uruha. Afterwards, we're introduced to another member of the Hishaku, since we see his tattoo and all. It seems like this guy has been itching for some action, so he's happy to go after Uruha. He mentions how he doesn't need to engage with Enten to get to him, with the next panel showing the bodyguards having just been killed by his hands. And I gotta be honest, that caught me by surprise. I actually believe they were gonna catch up to Uruha after, defeating the people who showed up at the hideout. Oh man, Uruha is gonna be so devastated. And this is where we reach the end of the chapter, with Chihiro preparing to fight this guy. And man, I'm excited to see how this fight goes. Because, we saw Chihiro fight against their leader in the auction. He put up a decent fight against him, but now this is another member. So it should be an entertaining fight. Hokuzono really knows how to keep me in the edge of my seat. And I'm loving the design of the new characters. Uruha looks great, and this new member, the Hishaku, looks really cool too. So I can't wait to see more of them. Overall, these were 2 really engaging chapters, and I can't wait to see how this arc continues. I actually hope Uruha becomes a member of Chihiro's group too. But, we'll have to see how that goes. But, yeah, that's basically everything I have to say for now. Really solid stuff. So, now feel free to leave, all of your thoughts in the comments below about what you thought about the newest chapter, or the previous chapter, or what you think is going to happen next. I'd love to read all of them, so I'll do my best to respond to everyone, as I usually do. But, for now, I'm about to head out. So, here's looking forward to the next chapter. Peace out, and take care, everyone.